Okay, my name is Rick Asai. I'd like to call the Safety Committee meeting to order at 2:05 p.m. on October 16th. And I'd like to make a brief statement about our land acknowledgement and anti-racism statements. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we gather today on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish Peoples, and that Sun Valley Community Association stands against racism of all colors. The full statements can be found online. Okay, so roll call. I'm here, Debbie's here, Colleen's here, Ted's here.
No Judy and no Daniel.
So as of right now, no Judy and no Daniel. So, as I thought I communicated, although apparently there was some confusion about that, Tom resigned from the safety committee for personal reasons. So that left us with just one board member. And so unfortunately that happened just as I was heading out the door to go on vacation for 3 weeks. So couldn't get anything going. So apologize for that. I also apologize for the misunderstanding about how many we needed for a quorum, because we have a committee of 7, or had a committee of 7, and you need half plus 1. Mm-hmm. One of which needs to be a board member. And I understood you had that in August, but Tom thought it needed to be 5. So anyway, so he called that meeting. And so I apologize for that. I should have made that more clear. But the quorum, unless otherwise stated, is half plus 1. So just over half. So we have a quorum today. Have a very kind of general agenda. So I would entertain a motion to approve or adopt the agenda as presented. Okay, any discussion on adding anything? Want to add anything to the agenda? I think I do want to add discussion of these materials that we were given back in June, I think it was.
It's listed as new business.
Yeah, it'd be under new, like the number 6 under, oh, I guess it's under A, it's right
A.
there, excuse me. Okay. Okay, all in favor of adopting the agenda then, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, thank you. So I know it's been a while, so I printed up the minutes from July so you could review them again if need be. But I think they're fairly complete. It gets back a ways, but as I reread it, it sounded familiar. You see any errors or omissions, corrections?
I remember reviewing them before the August meeting and I didn't find anything at that time.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Judy.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'll move to approve as presented.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to have a seat there? All right. So, we come in just in time to vote on the minutes from July. So
Okay.
all in favor of approving the minutes as circulated? Say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, so the minutes are approved. So, announcements. Just to reiterate again, this is the last meeting of this board year. We have the AGM that will happen before the next safety committee meeting. The next safety committee may be different. The board appoints those committee members each year. Mm. And so we'll plan to meet, but the chair may select a different date and time and all that. And you know, I don't know. There's talk amongst us on the board of maybe trying to have just one board meeting a month instead of two. We're still discussing it, we'll see, and we'll have to see what next year's board decides. Yeah, so be on the lookout for a possible request to serve again on the safety committee meeting after the AGM with the new board, and when that group decide, yeah. So
for
it may or may not.
clarification, excuse me, Rick.
Yeah.
For clarification, safety committee will be a standing committee.
Yes, there will be a safety committee.
Has to be formed
The
first.
Yeah, the members will need to be
Okay.
appointed or reappointed.
So, I guess that seems so contrary, conflictual.
Well,
It's a standing
the
committee.
committee is ongoing.
Yeah.
The makeup of the committee is unknown.
Yeah.
So actually, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask everyone is, who would be willing to continue on? Okay, good. Yay!
And you?
Yeah.
Rick, we have a new member, she's actually tuned in right now. Comments are turned off, but she would like to talk her 3 minutes. Maria is interested in joining the safety committee.
Okay.
And I just didn't know what process to let her know.
Yeah, perfect, okay. So let's see, let me make a note here. Okay, so, can you let her on there, Spencer? Is there somebody on there?
She says there's comment, like everything's turned off, she can't.
Is it Maria?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, she's here. Sorry, I thought she was just a spectator.
Yeah, mostly that will be true, but, Maria, can you hear me?
She's muted, but she should be able to talk now.
Okay. Maria, I'd like to invite you. Thoughts about your interest in the committee and what you were interested in working on.
I just messaged her.
She's here. She's unmuted, I think.
You may have to.
All right, can you all hear me?
There we go.
Yes, we can now.
Okay, awesome. I was joined in as a panelist. Well, first and foremost, thanks for the time to speak, and thank you all for what you do. I have got 2 little ones, so I haven't been involved as much as I would like to, and I've heard of what the different committees do. So thank you all for your time. And as I hear that it's coming down to the end of the year, I'm excited to hear that folks still want to join and be part of it. I'm interested in joining because my little girl started riding the bus, and a lot of things have now become emphasized. I'm more aware of things. As a walker of a dog in that area, it's always, oh, I wish people would slow down or this or that. So if I can be part of this committee, I think I could bring some things to light and not kind of grumble about it, but maybe make some things happen. And definitely with Kolleen's assistance, I had prepared a bunch of emails with photos to you all for the September meeting about a brand new bus stop. And I was just sort of trying to figure out what was going on. I hadn't been notified through the school district that there was a new bus stop, and I wanted some trees trimmed back. I wanted some areas cleaned up. So I took it upon myself. I met some of the homeowners. They were great. I trimmed some trees, the larger trees that I couldn't trim for safety reasons and visibility reasons. I wrote an email to the front office at the association, and they were great. I did what I did. I left a little debris pile, and they helped me out, picked it up, and put some wood chips down at the new bus stop, cleared some very, very covered trees and covered stop signs. So we got that taken care of, and it felt really good. And I just hope that I can bring that sort of energy to other matters in regards to safety. So
And
that is my interest in joining.
okay.
That's great. No, thank you for sharing what you've done and your areas of interest. Presently, the committee is made up of 7 members, 2 board members and 5 general members. So potentially, we may have more people interested than can serve, but as I'm sitting here thinking about it, there's no reason why we can't have a subcommittee that could include more public members as well. So if we set up a subcommittee on road safety, or however it's determined, whether school bus safety, but maybe road safety would be more inclusive, would cover dog walkers and bicycles and traffic lanes and all of that. Then hopefully you can be included in one way or the other.
That'd be great. Wherever I can also just be a volunteer, whatever you all need. I've some hands, some feet on the ground type thing. I'm just happy to participate, and I feel really guilty that it's taken me this long. But
if we do need or determine that we need to have a subcommittee, it's a great way to develop some experience and relationships, and then maybe work on to a spot on the committee as other people.
Great.
Your comments today. You're welcome to stay and listen on for the rest of our discussions, but
Yeah, I'd love to just listen. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you, Maria. Thank you very much.
Maria, what's your last name?
Perez-Henderson.
I forwarded you all her original email, and the bus stop pictures and all of those things that she had worked on. So that'll be in the email, you can review it.
Okay. Great, okay, so let's see, we have our various kind of subcommittees that we've been working with. Now, I think, actually, so let's, we'll kind of go in the order of what was on the minutes from last time. So Judy, what have you been working on lately? Because we did the Firewise, and then we were trying to get, we did have the kind of the go bag emergency with Greg, right? And Amy. But what's next?
Well, my personal interests still focus on hazardous tree issues and exits. Additional exits for some gates.
Right, okay. So, we haven't met for a couple months, so there hasn't been much activity, I'm guessing. So, have you had the opportunity to reach out to folks to try to set up some potential meetings?
With what issue? Which issue? No, I have not. Waiting to see what our focus was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though I have over time, over the last few years, but nothing since our last meeting.
Yeah. Okay. And then in terms of the rack, I think that turned out very well. I think it's been well used and well received, and maybe some of them are leaving, but it's maybe saving somebody's life. So
It's actually, I think it's stabilized.
Oh, good.
My plan is, because use of the marina and everything is way down because of the time of year.
Sure. Yeah.
I had a email conversation with Parks, and they recommended that we do kind of what I suggested to them, and that is bring the jackets in for the winter. Likelihood of them being used, or maybe just leave one of each size out or something, but there's no point leaving them out there just to get rain and snow and sun bleach and everything.
Yeah, right, ultraviolet and all that stuff.
So I was thinking, possibly of bringing them in at the end of this month. And hopefully we'll have had several nice warm days, so they'll be nice and dry. If they're not, we'll have to think about some way of drying them out. But I guess we'll store them in the back room down at the marina office.
Yeah.
And probably put them back, the boxes are still there, so if they're dried, we'll just stick them back in the boxes. And then we'll have to decide at what point in the spring they should go back out. We can deal with that when the time comes.
Right.
Let's see. When I was going through, I'm gonna jump ahead just a little bit if you don't mind, since I have to leave early.
Yeah.
One thing that has come to my attention from being down there, now that the lake water's been pulled way down,
Yeah,
there is a old piling or something that is now above, about 6 or 8 inches above the surface of the water. And in years past, there was a buoy on that, but there hasn't been for probably a couple of years. But even when the lake is up to pretty close to normal, it's hovering not too far underneath the surface, and conceivably a motorboat could hit it.
so is that straight off of the launch there, or where?
Just slightly off to the right as you're facing out into the lake. We've got a buoy that used to mark the swimming area, which
Yeah.
didn't get marked this year.
Yeah.
Or last year, I think. Well, it may have been last year, but this season it wasn't marked. But now that that post is sticking up, my advice would be that maybe a buoy be attached to it, just as a warning, and with maybe a foot of extra line on it, it'll drift off to one side a little bit, but at least it's a visual reminder for anybody in a boat
Yeah,
coming in that that's there.
right, yeah.
It's a good idea.
So I wanted to bring that up, and I don't know, maintenance would probably be the part.
Yeah, they normally do that. In fact, they did put out the buoy, the swimming buoy, but somebody kept cutting the rope. So they stopped after 2 times.
Oh, gee. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, people this summer were swimming all up and down the beach
Yeah.
from the cattails at one end all the way up to the ramp, so
Right, yeah.
people seem to be making use of it. When I was going through all the materials, I found this.
Oh,
And I think this is a really interesting and actually pretty darn good document.
huh.
It was about the only thing I found in the packets that was pertinent. I think,
Was this put together by Sun Valley?
it was mostly the Lake Whatcom Management Program.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, City of Bellingham, Whatcom County, Lake Whatcom Water and Sand. And this was revised in 2006, but I read it, and actually it doesn't really need a whole lot. I think this would be a really good document to give to any of the people who are putting their boats in storage and going out of here. As part of when they pay their annual dues, that they be given a copy of this.
Whether it's a wet or a dry slope, yeah.
Because it gives information about fuel spills, water safety, wearing life jackets. It's a really nice document. It might need a little bit of tweaking, but I think something like this also talks about invasive species in detail. I think it'd just be a really good piece of information.
Did you have a chance to search on the Lake Whatcom Management website to see if they have a current version?
No, but I can do that.
That might be, there may be,
You can also post it on our Facebook, our website page.
website, yeah.
Yeah, I certainly should go there. I think
But that's,
people will more likely read it if they're given.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think both would be ideal.
Well, with a kind of, a sort of suggestion, like when you pay your dues, like you really should read this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So anyway, I thought that was really good. And the other item that I found that was actually pretty good, would be good for any of us to review, is this.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really basic discussion about emergency management. And it was put together,
Probably FEMA.
yeah, that's my guess. But it's got, I mean, some of it doesn't cover, I mean, it goes beyond what we really deal with. But I think it's just a really nice piece of information to have available. And people that are on this committee, probably would be a good thing to put in our own individual libraries and everybody just sort of read it when we have a chance and just get a kind of the big picture. So that we're tending to get down in the weeds, which is where we really need to for Sun Valley, but having the overall, I mean, we've had discussions about earthquakes and fires and all this sort of thing, and that's in there. But it's good to have kind of a overall picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I've got.
So what about the conversation that, I'm not sure, I think we had a little bit of talk about it in our committee, but also at the board about the life preserver board or rack at the other beaches.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I sent an email to Jack's father, Jack being the young man who built it, asked him if he thought there was anybody else in that scout troop that would be looking for a project, and discussed it with him on the idea that probably one more for next year and then another one for the following year. But I said, I'm not speaking for the board, this is kind of my idea because it would spread the costs out over a couple of years. And the first priority, I think, would be at AM Beach.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't necessarily have to be the same type of a structure, depending on what's already there and the physical layout. I mean, it might be, but it could be something different. PM Beach, I think, is more of a challenge just because of the topography. It's a steep slope by the boat racks.
But, yeah,
We
but
could
maybe
use
by the
the
boat racks,
shelter, like there's piggyback on the shelter.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Great minds think.
Could almost service both areas from the shelter next to it.
I thought about that. I think, not really, because I think when people go down to AM Beach, they don't go by the shelter.
Yeah, not necessarily, yeah.
So, anyway, he said that he was pretty sure that they would have somebody. But it's been,
Well, it's good to plant that seed, and if it comes up, then it does. If it doesn't, we'll find out.
well, he sounded interested.
Yeah,
So you have your phase 2 and your phase 3. This is good.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to ensure that I have something to do. When we get all the safety issues on the lake taken care of, then I can retire.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Ted.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next was. Okay, yeah, so the road safety.
Yes, so I'm sad Tom's not here, but I wanted to see if we could recover any of the information that he had some information on getting the, possibly thinking about the HOA obtaining maybe a couple of those automated speed notifiers with the large numbers, and we could rotate them at different locations, right? Kind of as an awareness, because it is, I mean, you see people break when they're coming up to it. I'm not saying it's a complete deterrent, but we have very few tools to work with.
Right.
And so I feel like if that is something that, and I wanted to inquire, with this new budget that is up to vote on, how, is there a line item for our safety committee
Yeah, I talked,
necessities?
short answer, no. And it will just have to be a issue by issue requisition. They were, for whatever reason, I'm not sure I clearly understand it, but they were hesitant to allocate funds to committees. I guess the board wants to have control, I don't know. Anyway, so short answer, no.
Is there a line item that the board would,
So
see that we could utilize?
So there is an income stream called undesignated reserves. And that's usually been a couple $100,000, so there's enough money. But last year, we spent $300,000, which is almost all of it, on trees.
Yeah,
300K on trees?
yes.
Wow.
Massive amount.
Cool.
There were a lot of trees that went down.
Yeah,
There's a lot of cleanup, and there's still some of it where some trees were damaged or are leaning, or and I think we put another 150,000 this year already, or over 100 anyway. It's an amazing, and so the budget this year, 2025 had 100,000 for hazardous trees. 2026 has $250,000 in hazardous trees. So now what they're also going to do, if we have a light year and we don't have to spend all of it, we have the option, the opportunity to spend the balance of that on cleanup kind of fire-wise oriented sorts of things, right? Limbing up trees and.
More frequent pickups, would
Well,
that be allotted towards something like that?
But yeah, possibilities, that's possibilities. So anyway, it's been combined, not just hazardous trees, now it's hazardous trees and forest management. So.
has there been an estimate? There must, I believe, be a list of hazardous trees to be dealt with.
So there was a study, I believe I read from 2015 or thereabouts, and there were 20 trees identified at that time. I'm sure there are new ones popping up all the time, and I don't think there's a current list. It's been just by request, people noticing in their yard or in the green space next to their yard or whatever. And so they're trickling in.
So there's no like wait list or anything going on?
No, they try to keep up with that. Mike Brock in maintenance
Okay,
gets those requests, and then Alan, I think, working with the ACC and if there's questions that come up. But yeah, I think they just cut down 5 trees a couple weeks ago. I mean, the work order was like 35-inch tree that was at risk and needed to come down. They had like 3 of them.
where was that?
I'm not familiar with the topography that well here, but there's some big trees, and I think they're trying to salvage some timber out of those as well.
So the efforts are ongoing, there is.
It is, it's an ongoing, it's always been there.
Yeah,
It's just been, if you looked at the curve of spending, it's kind of going up like that.
yeah,
Because we have this aging secondary forest, the alder trees are getting in there and growing, and then the other firs and hemlocks and cedars are getting big.
Yeah.
It's getting really big. And then you take a few out here to build a house. Well, that changes the wind patterns of the trees that are remaining, and some of them become more vulnerable. And people are worried about them falling on their houses, get an arborist in there. And I mean, like we noticed with the bomb cyclone, a lot of the trees that looked perfectly healthy from the outside, when they went down, they were all rotten in the middle. It's like, how did they?
yeah,
I would not want to have that responsibility, trying to determine what tree is safe and which isn't. And so I think the tendency now is to err on the side of safety. If there's any question at all, just getting it out of there so we don't have that risk to the association.
So my concern with traffic safety is that we currently have a GM that is very pro-safety. We have a GM position in terms of will the next GM, and I know you guys are doing the interviewing process, but that is, I would like to put that forward to the board as a priority of experience and initiative to whomever comes in. moving forward in the age of climate change, random storms, fires, etc. The previous GMs that I experienced had very little experience in safety, very little concern, and there was very little effort in terms of comparing the term of the short term for this GM has been significantly different. And I will also attribute it to board members who were willing to put forth these measures, but I just want some kind of like, I just want to put forth, like, I would love to see that happen, and my concern also is traffic safety stuff, and it can be like, oh, we don't have any money for it, right? And that is problematic, because it is a large problem, and it's just kind of something waiting to happen, so.
I was just gonna emphasize that as well. I think there ought to be conversations
Yeah.
about what are the safety priorities, and
Yes.
that ought to drive, at least partially drive, the allocation of dollars. If we are allocating a minimal amount in each category, and then there's a weather cycle, then it's reserves, not lowering the other committees' funds to work with.
Yeah, so, like many things, I think, you need to vocalize, and, Tom and I will do that at the board level, but, vocalize concerns like that, and it means more, the more voices we hear that message from, so I would encourage you to write, send emails, or write letters to the editor, or, just because you're not alone. There are other people who have expressed concern, have collected data.
Yeah.
But it's a large community, right? What do we have, 40 miles of roads? But I agree, and unfortunately, there's discussion at the board level that it's almost like, well, there's no way we can control it, there's no way we can enforce it, there's no way, and they just kind of throw their hands up, so.
And that has been
What's
the
causing-
theme the entire time I've lived here, and I want to say that is not a forward-thinking way to approach it. And yes, I have spoken actually to other board members who are like, oh, there's nothing we can do, people are gonna drive how they drive, right? And I am not that cynical. I do believe that there are definitely measures that we can, put forth, at least to create like a culture of safety, right? That like in Sudden Valley, this is how people think, and we continue to put out those ideas and concepts and campaign. But if the GM is not on board, like the previous one, then we come up against obstacles in terms of guiding that effort.
So I understand what you're saying about the GM. The GM manages the day-to-day, but at the end of the day, it's the board that decides. Really, right?
Well, yes.
So the board has to give direction.
Yeah.
In relation to this road safety.
Yeah.
Security, you used to have a little car that you would drive around, I forget what model it was, it's a compact or subcompact. I think it was at night, I'm not 100% sure of the time of day. Somebody was barreling down the road at the security officer in that little car, and he had no option but to drive off the side of the road. And due to the age of the car and being able to get parts of that, totaled the car. There's no way to track down who rode him off ran him off the road. But I think that incident should be written up, even if we don't know the particulars of who did it,
That's right.
as a telltale incident of how unsafe it can be at times.
Right.
And it may have been somebody that was down at the marina, doesn't live here, and just whatever, I don't know. I'll have to ask my question about what it was, but.
Well, the county does have, that's my next step, is I'm gonna go to the county, so working with the committee, but the county will have, for example, like you see car accidents at gates, right? They have quantifiable information, and we can look at like how many accidents happened, you know, in proximity or at the gates or at intersections with the main roads, right? And they also do get calls for accidents inside Sudden Valley, right, depending on the accident, just for documentation, do they not?
I don't think because we got private roads, I don't
They
know
don't
that.
document, I
don't
mean,
know
it's
that.
not like an enforcement thing,
I
it's
don't
just
know
sometimes
the-
insurance will have you call the police just to document.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
And does security document, I mean, like, somebody has
Yeah.
got to be tracking these things, otherwise it's the Wild West here. You know,
Yeah, well, fortunately, I haven't heard of any other accidents other than this one, but, there's an older vehicle,
I wanted to inquire also, I was told that there was multi-phase, road painting, and I'm not privy to that information. We had one, for phase 1 were the main roads this year, I was told that phase 2 next year would be like secondary roads. But there are a couple of roads I'm very concerned about in terms of having paint.
I'm not familiar with when the next painting is scheduled. But
Okay.
I know the budget to do what was planned to do, they were planned to do center striping and
Yeah.
fog lines.
Yeah.
And the estimated reserve study cost and what it was actually gonna cost was like a difference of threefold. And so they just did the center striping. So I don't know when the next phase is.
And so how do we not have a line item in the budget
There is for road, I just don't know the timing
for
of it.
roads? Okay,
Yeah, if you go to, the AGM, they posted a budget before it was approved, and so there's two budgets in there. You have to look for the revised, the latest dated one, which is September 4th, and it should have the reserve, study in there.
I know of, I can tell you 3 different accidents that happened at the top of Glacier Ridge. Even the residents who live at the top of Glacier Ridge, if everyone's familiar with that intersection with Sudden Valley Drive. Glacier Ridge is that bridge from Sudden Valley Drive down to Polo Park and then out either exit 9, gate 9 or gate 13, right? And it is a more narrow road, but where the accidents are happening is that people are making too wide of a turn. It's blind. Right, and so you have people who are making too wide of a turn and people coming up who don't see each other. And so you have accidents at that intersection. And there's no center line on Glacier Ridge. So there's really no defined, and I won't even get into the mopeds, that will be for maybe next meeting, the off-road vehicles that I'm seeing pop up and driving 60 miles an hour, but happen on Glacier Ridge. But I wondered if we could prioritize like a couple of areas that we know that there are, you know, accidents happening there. And that would at least define, like, as you're turning, you know, you need to stay from that midline to the right, or, you know, stay coming up or going down. It's very problematic, and the poor people who live at the end, they're trying to put up signs like, you know, drive like your kids lived here, and, you know, but that is definitely, I know of accidents that happened there this year.
So I see people driving left and center almost every time I'm out. Just yesterday, I was coming back from town, and I came in gate 13 to go over by the mailboxes on my way home. Somebody's coming down Sudden Valley Drive, and he's got both left-hand tires over the yellow line.
Yeah.
Just tooling along. I will say that I've seen the sheriff out on Lake
Yes,
Louise
he's
Road
been
more
more.
frequently than usual. In fact, there were 2 of them out there the other day down by the school. But, yeah, the driving out here, it's not just in Sudden Valley, it's on our the county roads coming in.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hideous.
It is, I've lost track how many times I've gotten past going on Lakeway, or Lake Walken Boulevard, I guess it is, in that 25 zone.
Yeah.
I mean, and I usually go 30, just because I don't want to get run over, but my word.
So again, I think as you said with the board, like our voice is gonna matter, so how much and I'm saying we as like Sudden Valley, like our representatives, our general manager, needs to be communicating with county traffic safety and saying, we need you out here on a regular basis, and I don't know if that
So our
conversation.
county representative is not on the ballot, so, but there's a new one that's gonna be elected.
No, I hear
And
that.
so, I mean, that's an opportunity. They had a candidate forum I went to.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
But you're right, you know, we just have to keep pushing.
Yes, yes.
We can make it happen. The more we talk about it, the more it'll be on front of mind and something will happen.
Well, I came across an old message even from 2024, it was the end of the year, and it was, I had been inquiring, you know, with Sergeant Paz, in terms of like what we can do out here, and he directed me to the department with the county, forgive me, Public Works. And it was a gentleman from Public Works leaving me a message, and it was about crosswalks, because there are two areas that I'm interested in at the intersection of getting crosswalks, and one is over at Gate 9, and we can put this on the next meeting, and I'll see if I can get any forward movement on it, but a crosswalk from Gate 9 to the entrance to Lookout. So one, there's a WTA stop over there, and
Yeah.
there, right, so people are crossing with bikes, children are crossing over because they take the public bus. Like that is, but you also have people turning out of Gate 9 recklessly, right? And then you have people speeding from both sides. So you have, and then you have people pulling out of the drug.
There's a trailhead right there too. Or
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
So it's very, very high traffic, and at times people are literally, like 2 days ago, over the last weekend, people were parking along the rim of the road. That's how crowded that parking lot was. And so I was asking for just painted lines and maybe some signs of a crossing in that area. And then the second, I think was the number one, but the second would be at the Valley Market. Because people are walking a lot more, kids are walking. I know my child takes the bus sometimes when he goes to go to the library, right? And then maybe he wants to go to the market and get a snack. And you see tons of teenagers at the market after school, right? And so that's also a WTA stop. So that's where I was intersecting our needs with WTA, because there's a WTA stop at both of those locations. So I'm hoping to get, there can be an intersection of funding is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I think that particular location will run into some headwind because there's a tunnel. I know it's not right there, but there is a tunnel.
Yeah.
And that's why it was built, I'm pretty sure.
So then, can we work on signage to the tunnel, et cetera, but definitely to look out, that is a high traffic.
So some good ideas to bring up and work on for next year, so
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so let's see. Now, getting back to the kind of evacuation routes, emergency, all that kind of stuff. So we, at one point, were about ready to schedule a meeting with Matt, and then he had a conflict and he couldn't come, and then we
Right.
have kind of not been meeting, so we're kind of back at square one. But I think that is definitely something that we're wanting to look at going forward, alternate routes, extra roads, opening up gates, that kind of thing. So we'll have to look at probably at the first or early on in the next board year, clarifying the charter that the safety committee has. In other words, their realm of oversight, to clarify and maybe expand on what is already there. Some of it's kind of general, some of it's kind of specific, so I think just trying to spell that out. So I think I'm going to make a note to myself to review the charter and for 2026. Okay. Any other thoughts on that other than we want to do it, but we really don't have much.
We just got postponed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything we can do toward, again, notifying people where the exits are. You know, we talked about the center line of the road, maybe with some sort of special designation saying this is the way to the exit on a couple of main roads, how to get there for people who
Emergency exit or
don't
something.
know.
So, I understand what the reasoning and the thought there. My concern is, a lot of times, what if you get on that, you're following that, and that's the way it's walked down the road. It's either got a tree or fire or something like that. Then we're leading them the wrong way.
So can we call it an
Right?
alternate exit, because that implies that there are, it's just an option.
Yeah, so I
Rather
think,
than
I think
emergency.
identifying them is probably foremost of importance. And I have to think about how, I mean, maybe you number them and say, this incident recommends you take exit 3 or 5 or whatever,
Well,
something like that.
That's part of the communication piece.
Yeah, right.
You know, clearly, and whether it's a fire or whether it's a hazardous spill or an earthquake,
Right.
that's gonna be determined by the incident command and.
Right,
But people don't know, like, where Western is, if they don't normally go out that way. They don't know where that turn is, they go right by it, and then,
yeah.
you know, or people who, I've had guests go by gate 3 like 6 times in circles, you know, trying to find it, because they go right by it, but they don't recognize it.
Yeah. So, I think, even though we've had a communication committee in the past, we don't have one now, and I don't understand why, but I'm not a king. But I think it is, I think it is
No
a good
kings.
idea.
I don't even want it to be.
I think it is something that we need to have, to be able to communicate on our website, let's say, for example. Or if the power goes down, then we gotta rely on our ham radio, which is, so that was another thing, is want to make a list of things we wanted to at least look at. If we can't get it expanded in our charter, then we'll have to push it off onto somebody else. But I think as part of that communication plan, we're gonna draw in and lean on the ham radio folks. They'll be able to have an office in the fire station when it opens.
Can I ask you, are the board members charged to, like, is part of the responsibility of being a board member to head a committee? Like, because my observation is that only very few board members are taking the time to head committees. I was previously on the emanations of communications committee, which was actually really important in bridging like the community's voice and
Yeah,
how we
dialogue.
want to be, yes.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was talking with another board member earlier today about that very fact. I said, you know, if somebody runs to be on the board, I think they should be invested enough
Yes,
to serve on at least 1 or 2 committees.
that's
And
right,
the more senior ones chairing committees, you know,
yes.
and because as I look at it now, I think there are 3 or 4 board members that don't serve on a committee.
Right, and that's not acceptable.
And there are
I don't think
candidates
so.
for board member positions that don't seem to have the flow of information from the community or from the boards to have a sense of what they should be advocating for. You know, communication was a clear message from the candidates about the need to do that and to modernize it. But, you know, other suggestions about different amenities and things like that, when we can't get safety signs, just seem totally counterproductive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wanted to try to jot down a list of things that we feel as a committee should be looked at. So we have these 4 things we've been working on, but also, so alternate exits, and so the radio, I guess emergency communication, right?
And within that, the exits and the numbering or labeling, I think because we will rely on the county, so in case of emergency, right, we're relying on.
They will give
NBC.
direction, yes. Mhm.
Correct, but
Yeah.
what role does SVCA play? Because they are not privy to our exits, they are not gonna have our specifics. They're not gonna have time to know what Sudden Valley folks maybe, so I'm asking, on a smaller micro level, what role does Sudden Valley Community Association play in the case of an emergency in communication?
Yeah.
Right?
So to answer the first part of your question, as far as informing the people who will be in charge of the sheriff and fire, basically, we have to work with them to help them understand our unique situation so that they can take advantage of our knowledge. So that's a partnership, I think. They'll still be in charge, but if they know where those other alternate routes are, then they'll be able to get
So when we
best
label them,
information.
designate them, we can hand them a map.
Right, and then our responsibility, as I understand it, is to take their direction and disseminate that to our people, right? So, the communication part, as you said.
And to organize volunteers should, depending upon what it is about.
So that's, so that ties into, so we got radio, emergency and then communication for SVCA, but then that also ties into map your neighborhood, and getting familiar with who's around you, who needs help maybe getting out, because they're
Right.
more or less homebound, or walkers, or wheelchairs, or medication issues, and sometimes maybe we're gonna be advised to stay in place and not scatter. So,
Yeah,
so that whole go bag, map your neighborhood kind of concept needs to be shared and taught. It's interesting how much turnover there are at home sales in Sun Valley, so it's not like a one and done, right? Because next year, guess what?
Yeah.
We're gonna have maybe 50 new families in here, or whatever the number is, I don't know. We got new houses being built and people moving in and moving out.
And
So-
an increasing number of young families and kids, school bus age.
Yes, no, that's right.
So this is the intersection of committees, right? So this is the
Yeah.
intersection of safety and communication committee, and I think further points to the necessity of someone taking on that, because you cannot head every board, Rick. You cannot take on.
I'm telling them I'm cutting back next year.
Yeah,
I got in over my
You're
head
doing
this
a whole
year.
lot, and I appreciate you. The other charge would be, I think, regular safety surveys. That we create surveys so that the community has input on a regular basis, so maybe quarterly, right? So we come up with things like, what are you concerned about? Like, you know, what are some, so that there's a flow back and forth and people feel like they're being heard and that we are actually representing the concerns of the community.
So that's the other half of communication is like, you send out a survey or you post a survey electronically or on whatever,
Yeah.
Survey Monkey or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And historically, the response rates have been dismal. And it's hard, that's a big challenge because everybody's used to answering surveys in different ways. Some people like paper, some people like, you know, this year we're gonna have a hybrid voting. You vote on your phone or computer or whatever for the AGM, or you can fill out a paper ballot. So trying to meet everybody where they're at.
So this is a marketing communication plan, and that just means that like it goes out in one way and then people can then back it up on social media. People can then remind people via text or whatever, right? Like it's a layered approach to
Sure,
reach as many people.
sure, and, yeah, exactly, yeah, it's, I think that is a huge ongoing challenge, trying to figure out how to get people to respond, and sometimes you know, the perception may be, well, if they're not complaining about something, it must be okay.
Exactly, right.
They're okay with what's going
But if
on.
you
So,
talk to most
up to a
people-
point, I mean, that's.
Well,
all.
People don't
yes,
know the
yeah.
avenues to complain, right? Most Sun Valley residents that I talk to don't even know like who to email about something, right? So, and maybe it is this turnover, maybe there are a lot of new people, but I think that ongoing campaign of communication is gonna be crucial, so.
So any-
I think that somebody's
My
listening.
sense was that from listening to the candidates is that the lesser than ideal communication was a overlapping concern.
Yeah,
So no matter how detailed a safety plan we have, if it's not communicated,
that's right.
Yeah,
we're without.
And that's not just the one and done, like you said, like that's an ongoing thing.
so, yeah, communication is a two-way street. You can send it out, if they don't read it, you know, how hard you have to pound at them to read it.
Well, but
that
also
too.
people need time to get the idea that the community is reaching out and then it becomes common knowledge. Oh yeah, did you hear about that survey, right? Like you have to continue the effort before you're going to get any meaningful back and forth.
So any other topics that you think we should or could consider next year?
We didn't make a point of saying more sessions of education speakers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I mean, hopefully we'll have another Firewise presentation next year, right? And,
Well, we were kind of set to do the map your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we got sort of distracted, so would that be something we do after the first of the year? I think we're too close to the holidays now, people are
yeah,
cross-eyed
Right.
already about
Yeah, I think-
Christmas. And
I think, you know, the end of the year and first part of next year would be a good time for the committee to organize, plan out the year, what they want to
Yeah.
accomplish.
I think focusing on the overlap of the safety aspects and the Firewise, particularly the map your neighborhood. There's definitely overlap there in terms of the resources and the need to specify in what households are there people with disabilities and things like that. So even just focusing on that and doing education and trying to promote people from the different neighborhoods of coming in and learning more about it for the purpose of turning around and doing it within the neighborhood. Target them and try to generate a group of people that would work with maybe one other person in their neighborhood to come in and learn more about it and then turn around and do it.
So can we put together before the end of the year, and I'm gonna just assume that most of us will be returning or voted on by the board, accepted as committee members moving forward after the AGM. Can we put forth before the end of the year a rough outline, like maybe quarterly, like just a goal, like how often we wanna have these things happen, and then something to go from?
That would be my hope, is that the first month or two have pretty much the year mapped out, you know? Yeah,
Right,
I think most committees should have that
yes.
in place, but what do I know?
Well, you're important, you could say this is what we're doing, I suggest other committees do the same, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, let's see, so that's a pretty full plate if we undertook all of that. So excuse me.
one minor topic is numbering on houses being effective, because when I drive around and I'm looking for number 23, I'll be danged if I can find 15, 17,
Yeah.
25, anything. It's terrible that a lot of people have no numbers, some people have them,
Yeah.
you know, so tiny or in the wrong place, know where you'd look for it.
So,
So there's that whole thing, and Mitch Knowles had told me where fire department gets their numbering. And I've been out and talked to them, and they have, the standard stuff. It doesn't glow in the dark, but it's reflective. If you have a light on it, you'll see it. And they're not expensive, and they're 4 by whatever. And so I think we can, again, we have other things that are more important, but I think somehow we can kind of develop a plan of how to encourage people to get their houses numbered effectively.
I confess I haven't memorized the ACC manual, but I suspect there's some limitations or recommendations on number size and where it goes.
There
and all
is.
that.
ACC.
But to your point, there isn't a standardization of every lot next to the driveway or whatever it is, or on the front, by the front door of the house, or it's a little random.
It just needs to be visible,
Right,
wherever. It could be a post, it could be by the door, it could be on the garage.
right.
But it just has to be easily visible, would be really helpful, I think, for the people living there and for anybody trying to find them.
Yeah, so a street level house number would be most helpful if you think about, okay, in the dark, fire truck's trying to find you gotta look up on the slope lot, you gotta look up to the house,
Yeah.
and there's trees in the way, and,
Yeah,
The caveat with that is when we get a snow dump.
Can we inquire what's?
Plow the snow up, if you've got
Yeah.
the post isn't high enough, it'll be buried.
yeah, well,
It's-
so,
Having lived in snow country, I'm familiar with that problem.
yeah.
Can we ask the fire department, chief, what do they prefer? What the emergency services prefer in terms of labeling?
Yeah,
yeah. Again, we don't have to mandate it, but we can certainly
Sure,
help people know what works
and if we say this
and
is,
some ideas.
yeah, and the suggestion came from,
Yeah, promote it, but
right,
not
yeah,
say you must do this, but.
Right. No, good idea, that'd be good. Please, right.
next year, can we talk about the dog park?
Well, I can add that to our list. I think the board is, actually, I don't know if the board is actually discussing this, and it's here, and long-range plan, I think we talked about.
Thank you.
My apologies, but.
Okay, yeah, no, thanks for coming, appreciate the time.
And just note, I will not be here next month. I
Okay,
will be on vacation.
okay, well, have a good vacation.
I'm planning on that.
Well, if you want to send in any updates, you can, we don't understand.
I know.
Thank you.
So, the last thing is to share what we found in our materials that were distributed in, I've got like what Ted, excuse me, did a little earlier here, on the things that he found that would be most useful. So, who wants to go first?
I'll grab mine.
I didn't access it.
Oh, okay. What'd you come up with, Debbie?
Well, of the material you gave me,
Mhm.
I had the 1998 plan that was pretty comprehensive, been updated certainly, but it looked like it might have served as the basis for an update, because it was very well organized and mentioned that it followed the organization of the county's management plan.
Yeah, yeah.
So reference to other committees and such, clearly that it was updated in the sense of the number of homes that are in the different neighborhoods and the people that are involved and such, and So that was pretty much it. I don't know if it's too different from the more recent one that we had looked at as a committee. I didn't retain the details per se, but how to put together a manual does make me wonder who would, in the incident of an emergency, have the appendices and plans and this and that. So the training that's involved by the disaster committee is a huge component of it.
So it was it called the disaster plan or emergency? It was called yeah, it seems the one that we looked at, the most recent one that was wow, it was like way over the top for what I, as a community member, would want to know about. And I really wonder if we have volunteers engaged enough to be able to comprehend all of that and to administer it. I mean, it's like, I think we're in over our head here. I mean, I got the sense that the people who put this together had been in high levels of city or county management and we're used to all this bureaucracy, and it's like, well, that's all well and good and I get it, but I'm not sure it totally applies to our situation here.
Yeah, one of the strongest points that Greg Ford makes is that in the instance of a crisis or an emergency, it's not logic that is prevailing or all of this detail. So the more that training can take place and people can have that information kind of as a part of their mode of operation is a good thing. That's, careful planning, but this, just learning it that day and sitting down and figuring out who I have to call and what appendix do I have to reference and be like, really difficult.
Yeah. So, you can kind of get to your point earlier about communicating in time of emergency. What is our role at SVCA? What is it that, where do we fit in? I mean, the volunteers are involved in the various committees and boards and that are trying to serve the members. And so we have, as a committee member, we have dual roles. We have our own personal responsibilities, right? Take care of our home and our family and all that. But we also, as a committee or volunteer, have the responsibility of communicating what needs to be communicated to the rest of us, all of us out there. So a lot of it's early on communication, making sure that everybody has that information, training them or educating them so that they have their go bag, that they have understanding of who's going to be giving direction on what to do and where to go and how to do it, or stay put, whatever it is. But beyond that, I don't know that the general manager is going to need to assign some of that communication to maybe it's a ham radio club that is going to be getting out the message because the cell towers are down, power's out, and all that kind of stuff. But until that happens, we've got our website and our cell phones and email.
So is anyone on this committee certified? No. Okay, so that's where the interface of like something like, and there's a whole bunch of bureaucracy happening, but there are plenty of wonderful, experienced, certified community members that just need to organize, and that they need a lead, and they're waiting on a lead to be designated by the county, right? That is where CERT comes in. That will be, the state will decide if this is an emergency, they will be deployed, right? And so maybe telling our community about what CERT is, that we have a lot of these members that are organizing and are available, and if they are certified state emergency workers, they will be called upon, right, during these times. And they have we don't have to reinvent the wheel, there's a methodology, right? And that is interfacing with the ham radio and the fire and emergency, like, it's all happening together, but maybe we let the community know, like, that there are CERT members, this is what CERT is, just like an education. And I would like to put forth that there are rotating CERT trainings, and if anyone is interested, even if you don't feel like you can pick up a 150-pound person, I know in our training here in Sun Valley, I don't know where the next one is, it's like, they're all over Whatcom County, but it's worth the 8 weeks of going. We had a lot of people who were older, and they found ways to engage, even if they couldn't do the heavy lifting. The methodology was learned, right, and everybody had an important role to play. So I would just like to put forth to the committee, like, if you guys have time, it would be well worth your time, if this is your passion, to consider attending one of the CERT certification.
Do a long ways away, or in that 8-week span, I'm gonna miss half of them,
And they can be made up. So for example, I missed one and I have one to make up, and I roll into the next one and I can make it up. And
So it's segment by segment.
yes, and Doug
delivered.
and so, like, I'm missing the final one. So Doug just emails me and says, hey, it's gonna be in Linden, you can finish up there. And then there's a small amount of FEMA that can be done. There's training that you do online, right? And you can do it at as you're able to. But I think that would, like, be a deep dive for this committee to understand that methodology and the process of CERT as a community resource.
I would think, I would definitely have an interest and be
Yeah.
willing to do it. Kind of rolling back to your comments, Rick, what role do we have? Well, I think being more informed than general community members, but it's the board of directors that has to work with the county to declare the emergency. And then based on the specifics of that, then that launches the communication approach, and it launches what you ask other people to do. That, to me, that would mean that if we are, as a community, as impacted or as concerned about safety as we are, that ought to be at the top of people's agendas for communication with new GM and part of their experience and all of that. Part of the beauty certainly here is natural, but the well-being of the community is truly about communication and safety.
I see you on 2 committees, Debbie. Communication,
All of
put
them
it up there.
direct feedback.
Okay, so how about you, Judy? What did you?
Well, I did toss out a lot of things that were kind of junk, and weird, and duplicates that weren't useful duplicates and things like that. This is sort of a cluster of things that I didn't feel comfortable making a decision about. I'd like to pass it to you to look at and see. There was even some weird emails that I'm not sure should be kept, but I didn't want to make that call. So if I could pass this to you, then the rest of it is things like emergency prep handouts. This is about 2019 packets of various business from them. The same for, this is a model HOA disaster plan. This is the emergency prep committee from 2016. It's not terribly useful, but it's worth keeping, I think. Sun Valley evacuations from way back, winter safety issues, miscellaneous, and then there's this good maps that we have looked at that we're talking about evacuation gates and exits and what possibilities there are.
Are those worth scanning and
So
archiving?
So this
those
is-
might be worth keeping.
Yeah, these are really good
Yeah,
to have.
yeah.
And this was from 2008.
For
Ah,
winter store
wonderful.
in Sudden Valley, you can put that in the
I'll put it in my
empty.
winter safety. So these are kind of organized now by title, but I think these are worth keeping, this especially, and that was iffy, so.
Okay, good to know.
Can I read you a preamble that I found?
Oh, God.
This is 1996. Preamble for Disaster Management Community Associations. We, the residents of Sudden Valley, in order to form a more perfect community, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our members, do ordain and establish this environmentally friendly community.
Oh, interesting. 96, huh?
Yeah.
I like it.
You get a sense of the personalities and the
Yeah,
of people in them.
yeah.
We're getting some good response from our attendee on that preamble.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In order to form a more perfect community.
So, this folder had what was called Whatcom County Block Watch, which I went on the county sheriff's website. Now it's pretty much under that crime prevention tab, so that's the other thing I got to thinking about, because in this one, some of these, let's see, this one's got a bunch of minutes, so then I went on our website to look up minutes for emergency preparedness committee or whatever it was, and it's like, I found some agendas and minutes, and the dates don't match up with these minutes.
Ah.
It's like,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, well, the ones that are posted have to be the official ones, so I think these other ones are, I don't know what they are. Subcommittee, or, I don't know much of this stuff. This was interesting, I thought. This was the orange areas are landslide. It's a landslide, for a Sudden Valley.
I wonder if that's changed because of all the houses and things.
Yeah,
Probably
it'd
because
be
of all the
interesting to see.
building.
I don't think I saw a date on this. 15, yeah, 2015. And then this one was about forest health from the
Oh.
state. Somebody in that province or something like that, but that was back from 2019. But it might be a contact person that we work with. Let's see. And then this was, a bunch of stuff from 2019 and 2021. It's just like some of the stuff that we saw, emergency supply, last night.
Handouts, yeah,
Yeah,
probably similar to what I see here.
and this was a resolution to establish emergency preparedness committee for 2017. So I don't know if that got adopted, if that was just proposed.
Anything that looks like it would serve as like a good template for something we should work on, or is it just like outdated things we've already?
I think there are, in most cases, maybe some things to follow up on, like the new landslide map, if the
Yeah.
state has one or whatever, but I think most of the things are duplicative of what we've seen in other presentations and stuff. The maps and those exits, that would be very interesting. I think. So, I guess to try to summarize, as far as, because I think Firewise is pretty straightforward. I think Map Your Neighborhood is fairly straightforward in terms of organizing a program and presenting it. one of the things about Map Your Neighborhood, it's targeted at, what, 12 to 15 homes in an area.
Maybe up to 20,
Okay, up to 20.
yeah,
And we got 3,000 lots.
yeah.
So how many groups is that? So that's 5 for every 100, and there's 3,000, so that's 150 people.
Yeah.
That's a big project.
It is a big project, and that's
So-
why the training has to be group focused. It has to be.
I think you just start with the people who are most anxious to do it for their neighborhoods, and then we talk it up
Yeah.
and show what they've done, and, you know, other people go, oh, I wanna do that too, and pretty soon, we got another batch ready.
I talked to a resident in Gate 2, and her neighborhood had already done it. They did it after one of the presentations before, earlier. So there may be other communities or neighborhoods that have done that as well. You know, I think it's valuable in the sense that in terms of overlap with the safety is in your neighborhood that you would not only know about who might need assistance or medical attention more quickly than somebody else, but also in terms of where people's gas shutoffs are and things like that, so that people can help each other out and know where those turnoffs are in case they're not home or, you know, that kind of a thing. So I would think, again, back to communication as well, it's gonna be how we can promote it and appeal to people's self-interest.
So can we, as part of the committee, and this is hopefully maybe people join, but I think we could have our own small communication effort, right? And I'm talking mostly on social media, because that's where you have lots of people looking at various times and you can put something. And I'm saying, just as a committee, maybe we take like, if we have somebody say like, oh, this is what I did in, you know, my neighborhood, and we've had our meeting, and you know, this is what we followed. Just kind of a person-to-person kind of thing, and I think that those, if you look at how the reach of like who watches those, it is vastly greater than anyone with just text on social media, right? Just writing. So maybe a couple people are interested. I could help facilitate like us talking about the things that we've accomplished. But I have like 1,000 things going on, so maybe Maria would be a good kind of, or anyone else who, you know, is interested, but that we have some kind of plan set forth of people interested in doing like a small amount of communicating.
So that brings up an idea. I mean, I think we easily could have, or maybe request to have a column in the views, safety column, and talking about what's coming up. Another spin-off of that would be interviewing one or two people in these areas that have done a Map Your Neighborhood, and what they found helpful, how long ago they did it, what was involved, how hard is it to do, how easy is it to maintain, you know, just do a general kind of article about that. Probably a couple months before we put on a Map Your Neighborhood, give a date and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's just a thought that pops into my mind as we're discussing it. So I also want to go back to this whole idea of, because they're so related, emergency preparedness, or that's a broad umbrella. I think that's probably the broadest one you could come up with. So from our point of view, what would be the best order to develop a plan of implementing emergency preparedness for the community? What would be the first thing? I suppose just explaining what it is, right? And what the goals are. Maybe have a short article or announcement about that. And then as a committee, we have to decide what's the most important thing to get on board and then be able to build on that, and the next, you see what I'm,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think we're kind of picking out all these different things, and it's like, I wanna have some order, I wanna have a plan. What do we wanna check off first?
I think disseminating information that's
So-
already existing, right? So the state emergency plans, county emergency plans that we talk about, we're referring, that we're gonna defer to, I bet most people don't even know where to find that.
So,
Maybe we could work backwards. Say we knew for sure that in a week, we're gonna have a devastating wildfire in part of Sun Valley. What would we wish we had done
Yeah.
to be ready for that? You know, what do I wish the people near me would have done and known and prepared? And what would I wish I had done instead of just kind of general thinking about it, but actually done? And how do you motivate people to actually do it? When they know it's a good idea, they know they should, they know how, but they haven't done it. So,
that's a good example for fireways.
yeah.
Sounds like what you're getting at.
But even, knowing about who's in my neighborhood and how they can help me and how I can help them, and also knowing how do I know where to go and when to go, and who's gonna tell me? And what do I need to have in my house if I'm stuck there for 3 weeks?
So
What
if
do I
an
need to
emergency
take with me if I'm
happens,
gonna go?
XYZ, so if an emergency happens, what are the first 2 points we want the community to know? What is who's coming? Right, I mean, what to look for, where to look for it? And then, I mean, somewhere in that is going to be exits, right? Or exits for evacuation, exits for, what is, staying in place, right? I mean, just the different, even what the county will tell us, they'll give us an initial run or stay,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So maybe just spelling out just short talking points, because.
So is there anything like that in that book about giving some guidance or direction? But we could work at it either way. It's like,
Yeah, it's good.
what's most important and what's most usable,
Yeah,
tangible that we can relate to.
yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is. I just feel like we need to have some sort of a plan.
I'm gonna tell you, the
Where to
attention
go.
span of the average person right now is very short, so I think
Yeah.
just short and sweet, right?
Yeah,
a lot of things, one factor that I know Mitch Knowles is concerned about is panic. People
Yeah.
are panicking.
Yeah.
Because there's a fire in gate 5 and they live near gate 9 and they're panicked, right?
yeah,
And they wanna run,
right.
and he's saying, no, stay there, you're okay. It's gate 5, it's far away, we've got it, we're on top of it.
So when we spell out the where who's gonna tell us what to do, right? So people know, it's not gonna be Sun Valley, right? Where's that communication gonna happen? Is it gonna be on your radio, is it gonna be on your TV, is it gonna be on your phone?
Yeah.
But theoretically, in this, it is Sudden Valley.
Yeah.
That works with Whatcom County
Right,
Management. Sudden Valley that declares the emergency and should have a plan to how to get that
So
started.
I question that because
If there's a wildfire.
I think my casual conversations with Mitch
Yeah.
was that it's the county
Yes,
or the state
it
that
declares.
determines or
That's right.
declares an emergency.
Well, a large scale emergency.
There's not gonna be just maybe there's a fire in gate 5 or something, but I don't.
Yeah.
So, I guess it depends on how they define emergency, sudden emergency, if it's,
Well, there's a huge difference between a fire on a block in gate 5 versus an earthquake
Yeah,
where we're all in a mess.
small
or
scale,
or
large
a
scale.
fire
just-
coming down Lookout Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these different possibilities, and that's why I guess I feel more reassured after hearing Mitch talk for a while, a couple of times now, about that they're gonna let us know
Yeah.
who stays and who goes.
Oh, my word, they have,
But how are they gonna let us know?
it's
And that's the,
it's a huge department out there by the airport, office that they have. It's incredible, the resources. And they're all connected to each other, the fire, ham radio, and sheriff, and all that. So it's like, yeah, they're gonna, if there's something major happening. Now, I suppose if there's something more local, it's just in the community, it's gonna be up to Sun Valley. I mean, like, I guess there's a gas leak in the clubhouse or something, I don't know.
I would love to see SVCA hash out, like, define what their role is and how they're gonna play that role.
So, it sounds like to me, what we're all trying to say is that we need to have an understanding of what the communication plan is and what our role is in it. I think it's a pretty short little diagram. It's like
Yep.
fire and sheriff, county up there decide emergency management. There is an emergency management office, I believe, for the county. So they decide, it goes to Sun Valley office, administrator, GM, whatever.
But we need to know
After
exactly
they-
what that is. Like, is someone calling the GM? Is someone calling, like,
No, well, so
Yeah.
he's the contact person with the
Yeah.
outside world, so
right?
probably him, and then he reaches out to security and whatever our communication process
Security
is.
and maintenance.
Yeah,
And what is do you think we have one? I don't know that we do.
well, that's the question to ask. I mean, so that's the point, is right, if we don't know, chances are.
It's gonna start, it's gonna start
So
higher
it'd
up
be
and be
interesting.
driven through the committees.
Yeah, so,
So that's a large scale, and then what about small scale? Like, big fire, it's spreading in a couple houses, it's just in Sun Valley, like, this is not a statewide emergency nor,
I think the communication plan is very similar, it's just gonna be more confined to a neighborhood rather than, or a section of Sun Valley instead of.
but with one security guard on duty at any time.
yeah.
I don't foresee this being
So-
well prepared for.
So he or she won't be, they'll maybe be on site and be able to be eyes on, but basically it's gotta go through that more general communication network that will be, in that instance, more focused around that neighborhood, but.
How did it work with the bomb cyclone? Because,
It didn't,
yeah,
it
It
didn't.
was, well, it was in the middle of the night to start, right?
right, which,
And trees just started going down, and Mike Brock started getting calls, and Joanne started getting calls, and
I started getting
Security
text
started
messages
to-
about people whose gas was leaking and that they were smelling gas
Yeah.
and the fire department had been by and right, it was literally chaos.
well, and then they couldn't get in, so the trees were blocking the road.
Yeah.
All kinds of things going on,
yeah.
yeah.
And I, where I am, our block, absolutely nothing happened.
I
I had
know,
no idea till the next day
yeah,
that anything was going on. It was a
yeah,
little windy.
it was low, and that's
Yeah.
about what I got
I
too.
had no idea that just a few blocks from me was all that
Yeah,
going on.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing in downtown Bellingham, they had no clue,
Yeah.
until you tried to drive anywhere, there were trees on the way.
Yeah,
It was only so prepared you can be, but I would love to see what that umbrella of communication plan is from the SVCA.
No, that's what we have to work on, yeah.
If everybody read this, I think it's very detailed, needs to be updated, but certainly detailed about communication, about responsibilities.
So that chapter might be a place to start.
Yeah,
to,
this
update
book
the-
might be
the
a place to
communication.
start. And lots of annexes.
Who's gonna make those decisions? Are you saying that we make a suggestion and we create something, or are you saying that, I think, can we inquire if one exists and they have a plan? Like, can we ask what exists?
Yeah, that, I think, I'm curious now, I need to poke around, I just don't find the website very user friendly.
It's not.
that would be the thing, would be to poke on there and find out. But, well, I think we could chat around here for a long time and
Yeah.
probably not get very
Okay.
far. I might feel good about
Yeah,
it, but.
it's the type of the emergency and the scale of the emergency
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
has to
There's
be
so many
determined
variations.
and triggers the whole thing.
Yeah,
Can we offer that if they don't have a plan that's really cohesive? Like say, well, we have this, would you like to look at it?
oh, I believe that, and I need to double check, but I believe that one of those plans, a more recent one than that, is on the website.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody reads it or
Yeah.
Okay.
adheres to it.
But I think they would
I
look
think
for
that
it
might be-
if there was
Can you
a
tell me where
emergency.
it's at? Like, can you send a link?
I would
if you
have
find
to,
it?
so in this, there's a little white search box up there,
Yeah, what's it?
and I just type in emergency preparedness plan or something like that, and
Okay.
all kinds of stuff comes up. Some of it's dead ends, and some of it's maybe just a meeting or two or a link to something that's no longer there. But there's an incredible amount of information on there, but it's, to me, it's hard to find.
It
some
is.
of it.
You know, we were working on that in communications committee,
Yeah,
making a better website for people to use.
there's a line item on the website, but it's,
The oversight, the overview of this is board of directors to general manager to Sudden Valley Disaster Preparedness Committee
oh, that's
as an
interesting.
administrative assistant, and they oversee security, administration, and maintenance.
Debbie, would
And
you
what
be
they're all
so, would
supposed
you
to
be
do.
motivated to like break that down into like a really, like a simplistic one pager?
This chart. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
simplify it for that, like people, it's like a really tangible, user-friendly, people will get it, cause people are not gonna read it.
Yeah.
but
I wonder-
who needs to get it? But, I mean, who needs to get it first, in my opinion, is the making sure that the board of directors
Yeah.
and all future members who are candidates for those positions
Yeah.
understand the responsibility that they're stepping into.
Can we get a copy of that for all of them, like with the office, like a copy for
Except
every
that-
candidate, or like?
What is the responsibility? I mean, you know, in the sense that, when, like the bomb cyclone, okay, so the GM knew, but she didn't live anywhere near here. And maintenance, I don't think he lives in the valley.
He does.
He
Do
does.
they even
He does.
have anything they could do?
Well,
that
Mike
night?
was working with the fire department, cause I was calling Chief Knowles, cause I was having people text me, I'm like, I'm just a resident, texting me about gas leaks and can I call, can I get help, I'm not, you know, and I'm just a person, I don't, you know, so I'm like, I call them and I'm talking to the chief and he's like, well, we're working with them, and we're working with the gas company, and right, there's this communication going on, and Mike Rock had done what he could do, which was basically put cones and kind of like, don't come in this area, right, and that was the limitation, but he was communicating, I mean, there was stuff happening, but it was not organized, let's just say, right? And I think we could do better, and I don't look forward to the next disaster, but we can definitely do better internally.
Well, I guess that's the idea is, really in Sudden Valley, who needs to know? What can they do?
Yeah,
So I did a search, emergency preparedness, or emergency management, and what came up was, our June meeting.
oh my God, there you go, yay!
But that doesn't get us to that
No.
hook over there. I'm pretty sure that, I think maybe it was a subcommittee of long-range planning, some of the other things.
I mean, if I can get that document, if I can find that page, I'm happy to like disseminate it on the larger groups.
Well,
But you have to make a case
I don't know
that
that
people
we
care.
want to be disseminating it, because if the people at the higher end of that aren't aware of it and aren't going to be able to act on it, it's not going to be good information to be distributed.
You mean like the board?
Yeah.
Well, like the GM, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Is
That would
so
be-
the GM is not continuing on?
No.
When we first met him, he said he had shared with us that he was going to make a decision in 6 months as to whether he would stay or not.
when did you meet with him?
One afternoon when we didn't have a quorum, and he came to introduce himself. So,
I don't know.
Oh, that was
That was,
2 months ago,
yeah,
3 months ago,
he's given to us till the end of the year.
August.
okay.
Yeah, he He said he would work until December 5th.
And he'll help.
Depending on when the new one, if the new one can come in before that and relieve it on that.
He's gonna help interview, right? I mean, I would expect.
I'm not on the search committee this time, so I don't know exactly how that's working.
Okay.
I don't think he's on the search committee.
I'm gonna email
He's
him
been
and ask.
helping, he has been helping in the search, but I don't know that he's not actually on the committee.
This is a big,
I can't pull it up, so,
yeah, and part of the reason not to disseminate them in this anyway specifically is 25 years old.
No, I'm not talking about that, I'm just
Yeah.
saying like what's on the website, like what are we putting out, it's already out there. You know, what is the plan that's out
Yeah.
there?
I don't see, let's see.
I just see it, our meeting. And,
Is the safety committee the disaster preparedness committee? I mean, are we truly one and the same?
for all intents and purposes.
Is what?
Is this committee the disaster preparedness committee?
No, I think that's part of what we need to clarify in our
Yeah.
charter, because I don't think technically we are. Let's see, I can find that.
I don't know what the definition, like each committee has its own like charge, and that previous disaster preparedness committee that existed in 2017 or something, right?
Yeah,
I wonder what their, how do they describe themselves?
it was, I believe it was a subcommittee of long-range planning. So anyway, I know Spencer needs to go,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna adjourn the meeting here at 3:46.
Okay,
And thank
you.
you all for very informative discussions, I think.
are we giving back to you all these things, or are we keeping them, or?
Should there
What
be,
would you like to do? Are you, let's see,
can we note them to be scanned? Like if it's something important, can we just put Post-its on it and then ask the office to scan it and archive it?
This thing is posted throughout, so it would be,
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you want the whole thing, we could have them make a digital file.
I think we'll probably decide at a subsequent meeting, and that may very well be that we'll need to do that. But I think so much of it is decades old. I'm not sure how. I think probably we use it as resource and build a new thing that
Yeah.
can be,
How many file boxes are there of stuff like this? Is it just one box?
for this committee,
Yeah,
this is all I got,
right here?
yeah.
It's not too bad.
Do we have to
Yeah.
put our name in the hat again, or is that automatically, like, they'll know we want something?
I made a note
Okay,
of who's here, I guess, basically,
okay.
that was interested. So Daniel's the only one, and I can reach out to him, but,
Awesome.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
hold on to this until I get word to
um,
not have it.
I'm just trying to think.
Well, you don't want it to get, like, if somebody leaves the committee, we don't want
That's
to
the
lose
whole
what they have.
issue around a regular committee and a standing committee, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can the November, and then we can go, the November meeting, because December people could not show up. Can the November meeting be our planning meeting for 2026? Can we?
yeah, well,
designate-
like I said, the board,
If we
the
are.
board on which committees, and